I worked as a park ranger in northern Alaska for years, from when I was in my early 20s until my mid-30s. At first, when I took the job, I was trying to escape, but over time, I learned to love it. The endless wilderness, the snow-capped mountains, the muffled way everything sounded during blizzards. With no light pollution, the stars up there look like tiny chips of diamond, and during the winter, the northern lights roll in, twisting and shimmering in strange alien colors. But a few years ago, things got much worse, as people here have started to go missing at an alarming rate. And ever since, I started having strange experiences around the park and the nature preserve. One of the strangest parts of my story started on a freezing dark night in 2018. I was in a snowmobile out in a terrible blizzard. The conditions were nearly to the point of being impassable. The snow was falling so thick and fast, it looked like a moving, shimmering wall of white on all sides of me. Another ranger, a huge, lumbering man named Ace Acosta, pulled up behind me in a second snowmobile. I looked at him, standing 6 foot, with majestic peaks stretching up into the night sky, and thought about what a great picture this would make. As I was looking around, I saw the faint tracks in the snow. Ace's snowmobile lights were pointed in their direction, and I had been standing almost on top of them without realizing it, which is fairly easy to do when a few inches of snow are falling every hour. At first, I thought it was the frozen tracks on an injured animal. I saw the drops of blood soaked into the superficial ice first. Following their direction with my eyes, I realized that there were footprints pressed into the frozen crust leading away from me and towards the flat stretch of the tundra. I squinted, getting down on my knees and leaning inwards. I did not want to trample the tracks. I quickly realized I was looking at human footprints, naked human footprints. But who? Who would be out there in December in this minus 40 degrees winds without shoes? They would die rapidly out here. Literally, guys, just for me to drive across the tundra in a snowmobile required me to wear 3 jackets, long johns, snow pants, thick jeans, a ski mask, and multiple layers of socks and gloves with hand warmers. I wore special waterproof boots with composite toes that wouldn't freeze like steel toes. And despite all of this, I was still absolutely cold. I moved forward and saw handprints mixed with the footprints. All of them bloody. The ice was thick enough to slice open human hands and feet undoubtedly. The logical conclusion was unshakable. Someone had crawled through here, maybe naked on all fours, and their frozen body would be somewhere up ahead. I sighed, turning to Acosta, and he was still standing in the same position, his face covered in a rich scarf with only his eyes showing. I saw one ice-covered eyebrow raise questionably. "I think that we got us a body somewhere nearby," I said. Then after that, I got back on my snowmobile and I started it, as he did the same. What kind of freaked out tweaker would be walking around here without clothes on? Ace asked in deep baritone. Man, I need a hit from whatever that guy's on. I've got 2 sweaters and 2 winter jackets on, and I'm still ridiculously cold. Kelton, hey, what do you say? He started elbowing me jokingly. I frowned, not responding. He's always had a smart aleck remark. He was next to me when I was interviewed for this job originally, down at the recruitment center in Washington State. The old lady doing the interview was a bloodless, angry-looking specimen of a woman with huge glasses that magnified her eyes twice over. She spat out each of the questions like a drill sergeant talking to fresh meat in the army. "Are you a member of any organized religion?" she had asked me brusquely. Ace shook his head. "No, ma'am, but I'm a member of a disorganized religion," he said. "We call ourselves the servants of the old ones. We're waiting for the ancient reptilian gods at the bottom of the ocean to awaken. So far, however, they haven't responded to any of our texts." I thought about this as I revved the engine twice, a sign that I was about to pull off and that he should stay close. We took off, going slow and following the tracks as close as possible without destroying them. The tracks just kept going. the bloodstains seeming to grow fainter as we moved forward, and strangely enough, the distance between the hand and footprints also started to get longer, as if someone were running on all fours and speeding up. We were nearing the beginning of the forest of evergreens when I saw a white flash just up ahead. The thing that ran from us was humanoid, but I knew at once that it was no person. It ran on hands and feet, totally naked, its skin a pale, lifeless white color. It turned its head towards the lights of the snowmobiles briefly. I saw a hairless creature with skin that clung tightly to its simian body, its lips permanently pulled back from its mouth as if they were eaten away. Underneath it showed mottled black and red gums covered in thick clotted blood. Its nose appeared as little more than two irregular holes, and its eyes, they reflected the light of the snowmobiles, like the eyes of a raccoon or a possum. They were huge and sunken in its starving, monstrous face, and I saw what was leaving the bloody trails. The creature was, as far as I could tell, totally uninjured in its permanently grinning mouth, between rows of crooked, sharp, blood-stained teeth. It held the body of an infant. The baby's head lolled from side to side, the neck seemingly broken, and blood dripped constantly from its mouth and nose. It had deep puncture marks in its tiny parka, half rings of teeth marks that must have broken its ribs. The bloodstains on the snow were becoming fainter, because the heart was no longer pumping in the body of the one leaving them. I had a loaded rifle inside my snowmobile and kept a 12-gauge shotgun slung around my back, mostly in case of bear or moose attack. I always kept the shotgun loaded with slugs, which were, in my experience, the most versatile ammunition for stopping any large animal. The .308 might take down a polar bear, at least with a good headshot, or might just piss it off on a bad day. But a shotgun slug to the head or heart will stop any bear or moose in its tracks. Of course, this was no polar bear ahead of me. For all I know, it was something far worse. I looked down at the speed meter to see I was going 20 miles an hour, in the dark, in a blizzard, and yet the strange humanoid creature was still losing us. Its seemingly never-ending store of energy still sending it forward as a superhuman speed. Its pale, bony legs and arms spun back and forth so fast they were just a blur. It kept its sharp teeth around the nape of the dead infant's neck, like a mother cat carrying its young. I kept one hand on the steering wheel while trying to free the strap of my shotgun over my head. I slowed down below 20, and the creature responded by going even faster. It was making a break for the mountain forests that started only a few hundred feet away. I got the gun free and quickly stopped the snowmobile and raised it. I centered the sights, taking a deep breath to steady myself, and fired. I missed, though I don't know by how much. Shotguns had the drawback of being significantly less accurate at further distances than the rifle, but by the time I got the .308 out, I knew the creature would have long since disappeared in the thick brush and trees. By this point, Ace had also stopped and opened fire, but the creature had already gone. God damn. Ace screamed. That was one fast mother. I cannot believe he got away after all that. I think we better go find out where he got that baby from, I said. We might have a lot more corpses on our hands than we realize. To be continued.